Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, inclement weather invades Fort Benning.
And see Ranger students take on the water assessment course.
And later, father and son take to the sky for an unforgettable jump. Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Sarah Tate.
And I'm Nate Snook with the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching. Snow is a rare occasion here on Fort Benning, but when it snows, it pours, which tested the newly implemented emergency notification system. Melissa Bell shows us how Fort Benning officials handled the severe weather.
It may have started with a couple of clouds, but this winter wonderland soon turned out to be quite a problem for southern states. Here on Fort Benning, problems were minimized with decisive actions and a new emergency alert system known as the ad hoc system.
This is an important message from Fort Benning Emergency Operations Center. Early dismissal and delayed reporting.
We were actually able to project real-time information so that people didn't come in, because each day was a decision whether to delay and to continue to delay the workforce, and we were able to do that and get that out to the field before people actually got on the road and started driving in.
Due to the threat of dangerous weather conditions, non-essential personnel were sent home early while the storm took hold over the larger region.
The people are what's important to Fort Benning. You know, our soldiers and our family members and our civilians. That's what makes Fort Benning up. Our job is to save lives, not to go and add to it.
Instead of leadership being notified and then disseminating the information, everyone who signed up for the alerts was notified instantly as soon as the information was put out, and will continue to be notified for any future emergency situations.
The first day that we had off on February 6th, we had about 411 registrants out of about 12,000 users. We have about 7 or 8 times that now. We've got about 3,500 people that have signed up for the information at this point, and we're wanting more all the time.
With soldiers, civilians, and family members weathering the storm from the safety of their homes, the Safety Office didn't miss a beat when taking every opportunity to learn something from everything.
I think we reacted in time to kind of save our people. I think we learned a lot about each other as an installation, that everybody will pull together. It doesn't matter who you work for, they will pull together and work together.
In order to sign up for the ad hoc emergency alert system, you must have access to the Benning network. For more information, visit benning.army.mil/alert. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
The Commandant of the U.S. Army Armor School, Colonel Leopoldo Quintas, received his first star as he was promoted to Brigadier General. David Wright takes us to the ceremony held outside of McGinnis-Wickham Hall.
Leopoldo Quintas, Commandant of the U.S. Army Armor School and 47th Chief of Armor, has been promoted to Brigadier General. The ceremony, held outside McGinnis-Wickham Hall, hosted distinguished guests from General Quintas' family and career and featured a speech from Lieutenant General Robert Abrams.
He's had every hard job there is. He's been a selfless servant. It's never been about him. It's never been about his unit. It's been about the institution.
Upon promotion, Quintas received a general officer's belt and pistol, presented to him by his daughter Emma and son Sam. This was immediately followed by the uncasing of the general officer's flag, and then an 11-gun salute. General Quintas graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1986 and went on to a highly decorated career, receiving the Legion of Merit with Oak Leaf Cluster, a Bronze Star with V device, and a Bronze Star with 2 Oak Leaf clusters. He recently served a 1-year combat tour of duty as the Chief of Staff of the 3rd Infantry Division.
I just want to thank all the soldiers and family members that I've worked with in the past, in the present, and in the future. It's an honor to be able to continue to serve, and I look forward to our time together.
As Armor School Commandant, Quintas is responsible for all aspects of armor training. He has been serving in that office since September of 2013. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
Did you know that Fort Benning is the epicenter for testing new warfighting technology? Melissa Bell hones in on this year's Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiments.
Technology experts were invited to Fort Benning in an annual experiment known as AEWE, that brings various centers of excellence together to view the latest in advanced industry.
It's TRADOC's live component of their live virtual constructive campaign of experimentation.
Each year a new event known as a Spiral is conducted and has a specific focus. This year it was Spiral I, which featured technologies that will enhance small unit capabilities.
Target destroyed, ceasefire, ceasefire.
We're looking at things such as the network, things that aid with situational awareness. We're looking at robotics. How can we help take the load off soldiers? Do they provide, the air robotics specifically? Do they provide us better situational awareness in the tactical level? So capabilities like that is really what we're focused on.
This experiment offers the latest in a wide variety of technology to Army officials and industry experts to collaborate on, like a new mission command component known as Mafia, the Maneuver and Fire's integrated application.
The point of Mafia is to allow the forward observer to use a precision munition based on the mensuration and precision fires imagery on their end user device through the Mafia application. It's very user friendly, and it's much more user friendly than what's in the field now.
We've got to make the squad more survivable, more lethal, better capable than they currently are, and that will, as we go forward, enhance the total force.
This is the only live prototype experiment that TRADOC does on an annual basis that brings the entire community, industry partners, as well as a growing participation with the Joint Staff together to view recommendations by the soldiers who tested it.
Using these different technologies and how they'll affect future operations, it's very eye-opening.
After testing, these technologies will be reviewed, and recommendations will be made on how and where certain equipment can be incorporated. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Whether it's training Olympic-class shooters, hosting competitions, or honing their shooting skills, Fort Benning is home to the most premier marksmanship unit in the Army. Nicole Randall gives us a look at the impact the Army Marksmanship Unit has on the force.
The AMU is responsible for missions like recruiting new and talented marksmen through competitive shooting, as well as training soldiers up to U.S. Army expert marksman standards and weapons research and development.
Showcasing the very best of Army marksmanship skills, and we do that with competition at the national and international level. You may have seen some of our athletes go to the Olympics and participate in that. We're able to send out a strategic message to the Army and to our nation to better connect with them and show them who we are and what we do.
In addition to collecting talented future soldiers, the AMU is also responsible for some weapons research and development. Here on Fort Benning in the Army Marksmanship Unit compound, soldiers and civilians go to work altering and designing the weapons of the future.
We modify and adjust weapons so that they succeed in competition. As we do that, we find out some lessons learned, we find out better ways of doing things. And we take it back into the ammo and into the weapon systems that we build, and what you eventually see is, with what we develop, usually finds itself working its way through the Army system. Most of the small arms rifles and sniper rifles that you see today are of development from the Marksmanship Unit.
The research and development of new weapons technology is only as good as the soldier shooting it, which is why the mission of the AMU is twofold: design the weapon, but also train the soldier.
You got to help somebody shoot that weapon system in order for that weapon system to be effective. So I think that's what's critical, is what we do in training.
On the firing line, or really teaching other soldiers and other people this special skill set that we have. We're a resource, we're here for you, so please use us. We can make you better.
One of the biggest impacts this specialized unit makes is the ability to train soldiers to be expert marksmen, to be not only some of the best shooters, snipers, and marksmen in the military, but global-level shooting professionals. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, Air Force and Army team up for some rare weapons training.
Collaborative training can be one of the most influential ways soldiers learn. Recently, a group of knowledgeable Air Force special operators and a group of young Army soldiers came together to learn from each other.
The 17th Special Tactics Squadron, an Air Force Special Operations unit stationed here on Fort Benning, got together with a platoon over at 3rd Brigade to see what kind of experience and ingenuity they could pass along to each other.
Fire.
We wanted to get our guys some exposure. We wanted to get them out there, allow them to see, that there's other avenues they can go. Some of these guys, when they get out to the range, they lose their sight when they're firing, cause them to, not qualify. Just gives them a better opportunity, too, to just see how to use their optics versus, hey, turn this button this way, do this. Now they can actually, they know how to use it, know where to place their hands, better control the weapon when they're firing.
Not only is this young platoon working with experienced Air Force special operators on the techniques of marksmanship, they're also getting the chance to shoot weapons they may have only seen on a video game.
We're working with a Mark 17, Scar Heavy, and Glocks. We're also working with modified M4s. These guys normally work with M4s, but now they get the opportunity to use like a shorter barreled M4. An M4 has a suppressor on the front of it. This is a unique opportunity for everyone, including myself, because I've, for one, never shot a Scar. They'll never get this opportunity again unless they go some sort of special tactics group. So it's fantastic for them.
An opportunity like this is remarkable for the students to ask questions and learn from the special operators with around 12 to 15 deployments each. But this is also an opportunity for these experienced airmen, with the help of young soldiers, to think outside the box.
You often learn more from the student than they learn from you. You'd be amazed at the simplicity of the questions and the approaches that show almost an innocence in their perspective that forces you to look at things as if you've never done them before. One thing we're always looking for are new ideas, and you'd be surprised at the great ideas someone who's never done this before can come up with. We learn, and it reminds us how to hone our skills and where the weak areas are.
We're surrounded by different special groups. We have all these opportunities to get with these guys, and now we get the opportunity to train with these guys. I hope other units can do the same.
The opportunity these two units receive to train together will hopefully follow each and every soldier and special operator throughout their careers.
So your eyes move first, then your weapon. Eyes move, your weapon.
But the opportunity for this training to happen is what the Maneuver Center of Excellence really stands for, a chance for all units on post to work with and learn from each other. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
In our last edition, we brought you Day 1 of Ranger School, where students were tested on their physical ability. As we continue our series, Melissa Bell follows these Ranger students to their next event, the Combat Water Survival Assessment.
Ranger School provides a tactically and technically competent soldier back to the formation.
Changing back!
That is well grounded in all the basics, well grounded in the fundamentals. It says he's not going to quit in some of the toughest conditions that the Army puts a soldier through. He knows how to face the challenges that can be thrown at him, and he's just not going to quit.
In these tough conditions, for some, if not all, it's a test of will.
Ranger 42, request person to draw, Sergeant!
For Class 314, it's still Day 1, and 0800 brings students to their second event of the day, the Combat Water Survival Assessment. A series of obstacles that ensure these Rangers are prepared for what they will face later on.
Put your arms down, Ranger. Put your hands in your pocket.
You have the 34-foot log walk, which comes out to the rope pole where they have to slide out and actually touch the Ranger tab. Then they have a 70-foot slide for life. Well, they basically it's a zip line.
All right, Ranger, you're gonna hold the rifle out in front of you. You're gonna walk until you hit water, Roger.
And then you have the 15-meter equipment ditch and swim.
As students balanced on the 34-foot log walk, a record-breaking dip in Georgia's January weather had them fighting through tremors and stiff limbs.
Right, put your arms down!
To steady themselves and grip the ropes with frozen fingers.
The weather today is 32 degrees ambient air temperature, and with the wind chill it's at 16 degrees. And then the water temperature on the surface is 46 degrees and subsurface it is 42.
I can't hear you, sound off!
In Ranger School, students will be required to execute events on land, air, and sea.
Ranger!
This is an actual stream crossing from the Florida phase, and these are Ranger students. If they can't swim in this early water assessment, they don't pass, because they will risk the lives and the lives of fellow students when they get to this later phase.
Definitely need to know how to swim, because if you can't swim, you're not going to be able to pass. Obviously, if you got a fear of heights, you should probably try and work on that, because there are some height issues here.
With every aspect of this course, including weather conditions monitored for safety, these freezing temperatures combined with water gave students an opportunity to show ranger instructors how tough they can be.
Woo! It's cold.
And just how much they want the tab.
You're 35 feet above freezing cold water, and it's just you and your thoughts.
I try and think of happy place, like what I want to do when I get out of here.
Ranger Bruder has successfully completed the combat water survival assessment, Sergeant!
But just 2 days into day one, and there's still 60 days to go. Only 72% of students remain after this assessment to face a day of layouts, briefings, and dead reckoning skills before moving on to combatives.
Drop!
Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, a construction update on the Fort Benning Hotel. But first, Fort Benning's Picture This.
The construction of the On-Post Hotel is making progress. Nicole Randall gives us an update on the hotel and what you can expect when they open for business.
The large construction project currently underway on Main Post in less than a year's time will be a place where soldiers can have a comfortable stay while on Fort Benning.
It gives them a quality hotel room night. And this is our answer to take care of soldiers and families, to really provide them a standard that they deserve, because they're doing our nation's work.
The current capacity for soldiers staying on Fort Benning in an official capacity is 1175. After closing several older lodgings and opening this new hotel, the soldiers will have around 920 rooms available to them.
The primary purpose of the hotel, soldiers and families that are here for official business on orders. And about 92 to 93% of our occupants are the official military traveler.
Fort Benning's current lodgings were built in 1925 and are out of date, but the soon-to-be Abrams Hall will have all of the comforts of a modern lifestyle.
They're going to have the nice amenities that you're used to in a home with little kitchenettes. We have 740 what we call extended stay rooms, and then 60 family-style rooms. It's what you'd expect out of your own home.
Abrams Hall will be a comfortable place for soldiers and their families to stay for one night or 1 year, but it will also maintain the traditional aesthetic beauty of Fort Benning's historic Main Post.
This particular hotel mirrors that mission style that was built in the historic district. It's also a LEED silver project. In addition to that, we're going to save the government some money because it was designed with that LEED certificate in it.
With a historic look and a modern feel, the new hotel, Abrams Hall, will provide Fort Benning's official visitors with all of the comforts of home. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
When soldiers and their families are faced with problems, they are encouraged to seek help. We take you on a sneak peek tour of the new Chaplain Counseling Center and see what confidential services they have to offer the community.
The doors are now open to the brand new Chaplain Counseling Center at Fort Benning. This former bachelor officers' quarters has been newly renovated into a state-of-the-art facility for the chaplains. This program is the training ground for new chaplains who earn practical hours while enrolled at Columbus State University for their master's degree. In addition to providing pastoral care and spiritual guidance to soldiers, chaplains often serve as counselors, a role that requires special training. And that's exactly what the Chaplain Counseling Center will provide.
We'll do individual counseling, whether there's people having personal problems or dealing with PTSD. We do a lot of marriage counseling. With the guys deploying and returning and deploying and returning, it takes a toll on the marriages.
The center includes multiple counseling rooms where soldiers and families can meet with student counselors, observation rooms for instructors, as well as new office spaces for staff.
We take privilege and confidentiality, very important here. What goes on in this building stays in this building. Even if people from the command call and say, hey, is Private Snuffy coming in here? We'll say, you have to talk to Private Snuffy because that's part of his privilege.
The Chaplain Counseling Center is a tenant program with funding from outside Fort Benning, but the garrison believed in the center's mission enough that they renovated this building to provide them a new space.
This shows that the garrison is behind what we're doing and cares about soldiers and families, and I'm excited to be moving in here.
Chaplain Hearn says the new facilities will make it possible to expand his program and offer help to more people. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, father-son bonding 1,200 feet in the air.
Usually it's the dads that offer support to their sons, but in this next story, it's the son who surprises his dad with encouragement as they both take to the skies.
This might look like a typical day of jump week in airborne school, but it's not. This is actually the culmination of one family's inspiring story. Sergeant Phil Sanabria is prepping for his second jump today. If he seems older than most E5s, it's because he's on his second enlistment after a 20-year absence. He's joined today by his son, Captain Tony Sanabria, who arranged to surprise his father by jumping with him this week. In 1990, Sergeant Sanabria was faced with the hard choice of staying in the Army or raising his young sons. He chose his family, and now both sons serve in Special Forces. 2 decades later, once again at a crossroads, he accepted a challenge from his boys.
I got back in 2009 because of several different reasons, along with the fact that my wife needed medical attention. So my son suggested that I come back in the military.
He did so, re-enlisted, and found himself going through infantry basic training at age 46, and then served a tour in Afghanistan with the 101st Airborne. Captain Sanabria has over 30 jumps in his career, so when he learned his father would be going through jump school at Fort Benning, he quickly arranged to be sent here as a guest jumper.
You know, it's an awesome opportunity for me to actually, one, jump, but to jump with your dad, I don't think a lot of people get to do it.
For Sergeant Sanabria, having a son go up with him eased the experience of his first jump.
Everybody, I guess, is a little apprehensive jumping out of an airplane for the first time. But when I knew he was going to be here and he came, my personal apprehension went away, and you worry about your kids.
Jump week will soon be over and their career paths may not cross again, but today's jump goes smoothly and it's all smiles as they walk off the drop zone and enjoy the moment.
No, it was great weather, good time, landed soft, didn't break anything, walked away, so can't complain.
Observing the shared pride of father and son, it is clear that it's families like the Sanabrias that make the Army strong. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
What a great story. Can you imagine being able to earn your jump wings with your son at your side?
That's right, an unforgettable moment for sure.
Best of luck to the Sanabria team. And that will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
And you can also like us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.